Hi, everybody. Welcome to this edition of It's Brewing at McEwen, a USF baseball podcast. I'm your host, Mark Giardino, and today is April 4th, 2024. We are about midway through the USF baseball season, and so we're going to do a couple things on the show today to kind of acknowledge that. Probably the biggest thing is just I'm going to be going through my midseason accolades, midseason awards, who has earned that recognition as we're halfway through the season. I'm actually going to be recording the podcast solo today. So that's my first time trying that. So thanks for sticking it out with me. So, couple things. We have a tailgate this weekend that's going to be in collaboration with the SoFlo Rodeo, who's done an amazing job of supporting the USF basketball teams, and now they will be supporting the baseball team as well. They're going to be at the tailgate. Also, our friends at Barstool USF are helping to promote and helping with the tailgate. So it's a really great collaboration, and it's going to be at 11 a.m. on Saturday before the 2 p.m. game against Wichita State. Feel free to stop by at any time. We're going to have pizza, possibly some other snacks and treats, and just going to be a good time. And we'd love to meet our listeners and just have a good time before the second game of the series against Wichita State. And also, if you are listening to the show and you are not subscribed yet on whichever platform you listen to, please subscribe, please follow the show, please leave us a rating, a review to help us to grow the reach of this platform, to help to spread the information and content that we're trying to create to promote and support USF baseball. We really appreciate that. Yeah, so I'll kind of just get into my segments here. The first segment, I just wanted to do a brief recap of the Stetson game. Matthew and Adam did a good job on Monday breaking down the Charlotte series, which was a series in which the Bulls won the first game of that doubleheader and lost the second, lost the third, but now their AAC record is 500. But yeah, a couple nights ago, and on Tuesday night in DeLand, the Bulls had a rough outing against Stetson. They actually jumped out to a 7-0 early lead, I think by the top of the fourth inning. But it was really the bottom of the fourth inning where we gave up 8 runs, and from there, the game kind of just spiraled out of control. Had some opportunities even late in the game, I think. In the top of the 8th inning, it was only a 5-run game at the time. I think we were down 14-9. We had the bases loaded and no outs, but we came up empty and ended up losing on a run rule in the bottom of the 8th. So overall, obviously not a great game. A couple bright spots from that game, however, Stuart Puckett really continues his hot hitting. The redshirt freshman had 2 home runs and 5 RBIs. There was a couple other guys that had multi-hit games as well, including Joaquin Moncay and Matt Buffington. So a couple of bright spots there. I mean, offensively, any night that you score 9 runs, you usually expect to win. And our pitching just has to be a little better. And going into the weekend, I expect that we will see some better pitching performances from the Bulls. But yeah, that loss against Stetson dropped the Bulls' record to 16-13 and 3-3 in the AAC standings. So that is where the Bulls stand heading into the weekend. But before I get into the weekend preview, I'm going to go through my midseason awards, my midseason accolades. So I'm going to start with my standout seniors. So to be recognized for this, you got to be a senior. And so I'm going to do a hitter and a pitcher. So from a hitting standpoint, I want to recognize Drew Brecher. The senior right fielder from Lakeland, Florida, has really revamped his game compared to last season. Last season, for the whole season, he ended up with 32 walks and 86 strikeouts. And that really was one of the reasons that someone with his talent profile may not have gotten the professional opportunity that he really wanted. But credit to him for really focusing on that issue that he had with the strikeouts, because this season he already has 36 walks, which is more walks than he had all of last season. And he has way less strikeouts. He has 27 strikeouts. So he has walked more times than he struck out. And so he's really shown that he has applied the area that he needed to improve on, and he's really done that. And because of that, his other statistics are really good as well. His OPS is 1,078, which is one of the top 2 or 3 on the team. And his OPS is 169 points higher than last season. So he's really been the standout senior offensively for me. I would say the standout senior pitcher for me has been Hunter Mink. He's also shown a lot of improvement from last season. Last season as a junior, he had an ERA of 6.75 with a 1.53 whip. Those statistics are nowhere near as good as they are this year. He's got that ERA down to 4.82, almost a full 2 points lower, and his whip is down to 1.34, about 0.2 lower. So he's made a lot of improvements, and obviously he's coming off of a great start up in Charlotte where he threw a 9-inning complete game and was recognized as a AAC honor roll player of the week. So Hunter Mink is really trending in the right direction, and really think it's going to be important for him to keep sustaining that success as we go into this weekend against Wichita State, which is going to present a really tough challenge. But Friday night at home is really where you set the tone for the series. And if Hunter Mink can give us another performance like that, I think that's really going to set a good tone and let the Shockers know that the Bulls are serious about defending their home turf this weekend. So now I'll go to my rookies of the year, my midseason rookie of the year hitter and midseason rookie of the year pitcher. So for hitter, it's a pretty obvious choice. I'm going to go with Stuart Puckett. He's really been on a rampage lately. He's got 4 home runs in his last 4 games. I mentioned earlier that he hit 2 home runs at Stetson. He's got the 3rd highest OPS on the team, right there with Drew Butcher. His OPS is 1,076. And he's just really been a pleasure to watch. Somebody who was a freshman here last year, redshirted, didn't play at all. And this season really didn't get to play at all until the 3rd or 4th week of the season, but he's completely turned it on. He hits to all fields. He has a really pure level swing. You see him sticking with pitches that are outside and away. He's not pulling off of them. He goes with them. He's just a complete hitter, and he's a lefty and really adds a lot of value to the Bulls offense, especially in the situation the Bulls are in, having Bobby Bozer, Eric Snow, Rafi Betancourt injured. Stuart Puckett's been really critical. My rookie of the year for pitcher, I'm going to go with Kyle Scrape. So yes, I consider him a rookie because he's really only played at the JUCO level, and he did play in Division I, but his number of innings he got there was very limited. I think it was less than 5 or 6 innings. So this is really Kyle Scrape's first year of fully playing on a Division I team. So I consider him a rookie in that regard. He has been an extremely valuable piece of the Bulls bullpen. He has already thrown 9 innings, has a 2 ERA, a 1.11 whip, 3.5 strikeout to walk ratio, and he's holding opposing batters to a 188 batting average. He's a guy that we haven't seen play in about a week and a half. But I think he was dealing with a minor issue, but I think that he is healthy and ready to return against Wichita State this weekend. So really looking forward to seeing the left-handed pitcher, Kyle Scrape, really step up and continue to deliver out of the Bulls bullpen. And so now I'm going to go with my most improved player. So I'm going to do a most improved hitter and a most improved pitcher. So for most improved midseason award, I'm going to give that from a hitting standpoint to Ben Rosenblum. He's really been the heart and soul of the Bulls team this year, playing in a lot of different positions. He's tough. He's hard-nosed. He's always giving great effort. But beyond that, he has really improved and evolved as a hitter from his first 2 years at USF. He's really the main thing that has changed for him from those years to now is he has really developed his power. In his first 2 seasons at USF, his isolated slugging percentage, which is just slugging percentage minus batting average, it's a statistic that just gives you an indication of how much power and how much extra base hits a hitter hits for. In those 2 seasons, his ISO was 80 and 52, which is very low, meaning that he was not really hitting for extra base hits very often. But this year, his ISO is 192, more than double or triple those numbers. And he's really contributing a lot from an extra base hit standpoint with 4 home runs, 2 triples, and 3 doubles. And on top of that, he's playing a lot of different positions in the field, and he's got a 994 fielding percentage. So there's a guy who's a senior. He's in his 5th and final year of college baseball, and he's really making it count. He is playing at a really high level, higher than he's ever played before in his career. So for me, he's the midseason most improved hitter. So for most improved pitcher, I'm going to give that to Riley Skeen here at the midseason point. He's got a 2 ERA on the season, and in his 2 conference appearances, he has pitched 4.1 innings and not allowed a run. I mean, if you look at the Sunday game against Charlotte, he really gave the Bulls an opportunity to win that game. He came in out of relief when our starter had a rough start. Got the Bulls out of a jam in the 2nd inning and really put up some zeros to let the Bulls reclaim that lead there for a little while. His breaking ball has looked really sharp. He's generating a lot of swing and miss, and he's commanding it really well, which is allowing him to have the success that he is. You're looking at a guy who last year, yes, he did have some good moments for the Bulls, but overall his stats last year were a little off. I think his ERA was above 6, but now he's got that down to 2. Yeah, for me, he's the most improved pitcher for the Bulls so far. And after that, I'm gonna kick it to the breakout player of the year, who has really put themselves on the map, who has really become a star and really hadn't been one before. So for me, that's going to be Jackson Mayo. He is a junior center fielder, left-handed bat from Jacksonville, Florida. He's really showing that he can sustain his success for a full season. He showed some promise as a freshman, hitting 9 home runs. But last year, he really didn't do much as a sophomore. But now you're looking at a guy who's playing every day. He's batting .324 with a 1,015 OPS and 5 home runs. He's really blossomed into the player that everybody thought he could be. I feel like, especially in a year where now he's draft eligible, I think it's really good for him that he's showing off all these elements of his game. He's rangy. He covers a lot of ground in the outfield. He's showing he can hit for power. He can steal bases. He has 6 stolen bases. I think it's really great for him to be having a breakout year this season and really potentially even putting himself on the map as an MLB draft prospect if he can continue this success. So my next award is going to be the midseason team MVP. And for that, that has to go to senior second baseman John Montes from Toalto, Puerto Rico. Man, he has been awesome to watch this season. He he really has taken a lot of leaps and bounds from his prior seasons, but he's always been a good player. Even last year, he had a really hot start for the Bulls, but kind of tapered off, I think, as some health and just as the season went on, he kind of declined. But he's really showing that he can sustain his success this year. And I really think that he might have the strongest current profile as a potential draft prospect from the Bulls. Definitely one of the strongest profiles for the draft on the team right now because he is putting up these really, really loud offensive numbers and doing it playing in the middle infield, which is a position that scouts typically don't have as high of expectations for offensive production from, but he is, to me, really exceeding what you would expect from a middle infielder. He's got a 644 slugging percentage. He has the highest OPS on the Bulls, 1,115. But not only is he able to hit for power and have a high on base plus slugging, but he also has an incredible ability to hit for contact. He has walked 14 times. He's only struck out 11 times. His strikeout rate is 9%, which is very low, especially when you're a guy with a 644 slugging percentage. So this to me really shows you that he's really evolved into a complete hitter. He's doing this from playing second base, which again, if you can really hit at a high level as a middle infielder, that really bodes well for your potential professional outlook. And he's also leading the team in batting average at 385, and he's got a 985 fielding percentage, playing in one of the harder positions on the field at second base. So John Montes is my team MVP so far at the midseason point, for sure. Okay, I got a couple more little accolades here before I kick it to the Wichita preview. So for me, the most fun moment of the season so far, it has to be the I think it was Saturday or Saturday game against Memphis, where the Bulls had gotten rocked the previous night. They lost their conference opener 16-7, and things could have easily gone awry right there. And in a way, they almost did, because we made an error on the lineup submission card in which our pitchers had to hit in that game. And, that could have put us in a position where maybe we were going to lose the first two conference games, which would have been really bad. But the pitchers had to hit, Jack Siebert and Chandler Dorsey, but they haven't really hit at all since high school, if they even hit much in high school. I don't know. I don't know if Jack did. I think Chandler did. But yeah, so Jack Siebert gets a single. He gets a sac bunt. Chandler Dorsey draws a walk. The Bulls go on to win that game, and just the reaction from Jack and from the crowd was, I think, to me, the most fun moment of the season so far, for sure. And Jack also delivered a good start that day. I think he had 6 innings and 2 runs allowed, quality start. So that was to me the most fun game of the season. And now, what is the best win of the season so far? So I would say the best win of the season so far would be on Friday night against North Carolina A&T, where the Bulls were losing to NC A&T 7-6 in the bottom of the 9th inning. There were 2 outs. There was a runner on first base, and the breakout player of the year, Jackson Mayo, was up to bat, and he hit a home run to give the Bulls an 8-7 walk-off victory. I mean, it's always crazy to hit a walk-off, but to me, it's even crazier when there are 2 outs and your team is losing, because it's not like the game was tied and you could just go to extra innings. That was truly a do or die situation. and Jackson Mayo rose to that occasion. Also credit to Joey Volini, who put up a couple zeros in those last two innings to be able to put the Bulls in a chance to win that game. And so that to me was the best win of the season so far. And now I'll just touch briefly on Wichita State, which is the team that the Bulls are going to be playing this weekend. So Wichita State is really looking like one of the stronger teams in the AAC right now. So there really couldn't be a better opportunity for the Bulls to prove that they are one of the better teams in the AAC. If you want to be the best, you've got to beat the best. And that's definitely what we have coming to town this weekend. You're looking at a Wichita State team that's 19-10. They're 5-1 in the AAC. And they're tied for first place in the league with UTSA. So this is going to be a challenge for the Bulls. Wichita State has the third best RPI of any team in the AAC. They're ranked number 84 in the country. The Bulls are right now the sixth best RPI, I think, in the AAC at 104. So another opportunity to beat a higher RPI team. But yeah, Wichita is a very balanced, strong team. They're top 4 in the league in on-base plus slugging. They're number 2 in the league in earned run average, which is under 3.9. So they're just a solid team. But they have a first-year head coach. His name is Brian Green. He came to Wichita State actually from Washington State, a Pac-12 program. And it's not like he was doing bad at Washington State. He was actually doing pretty well. He led Washington State to 4 straight winning seasons before he ended up taking on the Wichita State job. So he's a good coach. He's a good recruiter. They had the number 2 recruiting class in the AAC last year, according to Perfect Game. And they brought in a lot of transfers from JUCO and other schools that have really contributed very quickly and early for them. So they're 19-10. Again, this is a great challenge for the Bulls. And if they want to prove that they're one of the upper echelon teams in this league, this is an opportunity to do that. And then the last thing, just wanted to touch on real quick is what is coming up on the schedule after this series. I think after this series, if we can somehow get out of this series winning 2 out of 3 or sweeping it, it's just going to be tremendous for the rest of the season, because I think the next 2 weeks after this, the Bulls will have even better opportunities to rack up wins. You're looking at playing against Bethune-Cookman next Tuesday, who we've already beat and is lower in the RPI. Then you have a road trip to a struggling Tulane team in New Orleans, who's 2-4 in the AAC. Then you get to play Florida Gulf Coast at home, who, yes, they did beat us earlier in the year in Fort Myers, but they're not really having a great season, and playing them at home, that should be a win. And after Florida Gulf Coast, you get Rice University at home, who has proven on a lot of metrics to be the worst team in the league this year. So to me, I'm looking at the Rice series as something that the Bulls would need to sweep or at least win that series, given the struggles that Rice is having offensively, and just the fact that the Bulls need to rack up AAC wins, and you're not going to get much of a better chance than doing it against Rice. So I really think that it'll be huge for the Bulls to win this series this weekend. It'll really put them on the right track to help them start climbing up the AAC standings instead of climbing down. And then again, the next 2 weekends with Tulane and Rice, they would really have an opportunity to really boost their record in the AAC. So again, if we can get off on the right foot this weekend, I think it's really going to lead to a good couple of weeks for the Bulls. So with all this being said, I hope that you're able to make it to the tailgate this weekend, and we can't wait to see everybody out there, and go Bulls.